It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's Ultimate Wrestling Trivia, the show. Today, hey, guess what? I'm hosting. I'm your host, Dashing Derek. That's right. And we got the man over there, Mike Merc, the man in the middle, Hall of Famer, Angelo Stefano. And today we're going to do our WWE Bad Blood review.
Well, hold on a second here. Before we get into the bulk of the show, there are a number of things that need to be addressed in this company, the Ultimate Wrestling Trivia Company. First of all,
here we go.
It's nice to see you moving up in the world, moving up the ladder.
Thank you.
Hosting today, but don't let it go to your head. I don't want you walking around thinking you're a big shot and a big deal. Okay, just try to keep your feet on the ground.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, that's a start. And second of all, I have a complaint and a grievance. The person or persons responsible for the decorating of the set here.
You don't like that?
Well, there is a problem. We do not need two John Cenas.
I can't see them.
I don't see anything up there, man.
Well, let me solve that problem. So there. Now we do not have two Johns. Do you see two Dereks here? Do you see two Stefanos? Do you see two Mike Mercs? No. Why would there be two John Cenas? It's an oversight by whoever decorates. And of course, I have to correct the mistakes because I am professional and I will fix such things.
That's why you're here, I guess.
You are the eraser.
Yes.
That's right.
Anyways, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with your friends? Like I was saying, WWE Bad Blood was this past weekend, so we're going to do a little review here. It was nearly 17,000 in the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Hotlanta. Your hosts for the event, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi, were hosting the event. Jade Cargill now, a year into the company, she's a tag team champion. Have they kind of dropped the ball with her, or do you think there's more for her on the horizon?
I don't think you can just bring her in, because let's face it, she is a little green. I don't think that's an overstatement, right? She hasn't been around all that long, pretty new to the business. I don't think you bring her in and put the women's title on her and have her undefeated and all this. Bring her along slowly. I actually think they're doing the right thing with her, and it'll be better in the long run for her.
I would agree. I mean, obviously, a lot of women that are under contract right now to WWE would happily trade places with her in a heartbeat for the amount of TV time that she's been given. She's gotten some mic time. She's gotten TV time. They've definitely protected her and allowed her to sort of attach herself to Bianca's hip, and they're fun. They're fun duo. They're eye catching. And she's got a long career ahead of her. No need to thrust her into the main event picture.
And eventually, you would think that Jade would turn on Bianca, and that would set up, a storyline for them down the road,
or vice versa. However they see to do such a thing. Because I think the problem would be, let's say, hypothetically, you bring her in, you push her to the moon, and then what do you do with her?
Right.
After that stops or that reaches its climax, what do you do? Where do you go? Sometimes when that happens, that wrestler tends to kind of get lost in translation a little bit. And I think can be a really great talent, and I think bringing her the way they are is absolutely the right thing to do.
All right, that brings us to our opening contest. It started off with CM Punk defeating Drew McIntyre in about 31 minutes. This was just brutal and violent, very bloody. Drew ended up needing 16 staples to the top of the head. Probably the best match on the card, I would think. A bit of an underwhelming feud, I think. Some of these matches haven't really delivered for me, but this one definitely very close to 5 stars, I would think. Especially with them bringing in the bracelet, the charm bracelet. That was kind of what this feud was becoming, and they did implement that in the match where Drew brought out the bag, which you thought was thumbtacks, but it was the beads, the charm beads. But CM Punk defeats Drew McIntyre. Is this it for the feud?
I would imagine. I don't see what else you could do now. As far as the whole feud itself, did it maybe, like you said, not live up to expectations? I don't think you can go that far. You could, however, question why there was a strap match exactly as the second match of the trilogy. I wasn't totally, I don't know why they did that. I was a little surprised by that kind of match. I think the blow off of the Hell in a Cell was the obvious logical conclusion. Sorry about the staples that he had to go through that. I'm sure
Brutal.
It was not planned, and these things do happen. It's not ballet. And from what I saw of it, I thought it was very well done. And there were a lot of important emotional spots in that match, like when you brought up the charm bracelet letters, when he dumps them out like they're thumbtacks. It's not he's not using it as a physical weapon. It's a psychological weapon. It's an emotional weapon. It's emotionally connecting with the crowd. I'm dumping these over his head because of what that meant to him, and I'm about to give him my big kick finisher to finish this once and for all. And that was kind of like salt in the wounds, so they hit all those emotional highlights that they had to hit in this.
The closest thing that I have to a complaint in that match was I'm surprised they made it first. It was one of the matches I was really looking forward to. I think there was some and probably justified criticisms about Punk on the main roster. You were starting to see more chatter, murmur on the internet about, maybe he's lost a step. And they went that match. They definitely made every attempt to steal the show, and were probably pretty successful in that, in my opinion. A toolbox busting open Drew McIntyre is unfortunate, but the match lived up to the hype and then some. The feud, as a feud overall, I think if Punk doesn't get hurt in the middle of that, I think the story is a little different, and perhaps maybe it ends at like a SummerSlam rather than in October. But either way, good match, good feud, and good start to the pay-per-view.
And I like that they just have a Hell in a Cell match. They have a reason for it. They're not just doing it just to do it. Like, you have this blood feud that turned out to be very bloody. Definitely like that. My match of the night for sure. Next up, we had Nia Jax defeating Bayley. This one kind of got a little sloppy at times. We also had Tiffany Stratton running in, the first of many run-ins on the show, I think. But she kind of teased the cash in, but Nia Jax would prevail. Any thoughts on Nia Jax and Bayley?
Oh, bad, not good. I believe in calling a stone, or whatever cliche you want to use here. Nia Jax, not good. She has a reputation of being reckless and careless, and her matches aren't good. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Maybe she's a good person, I don't know. But there's a lot to be desired with her, and I think it's not an overstatement to say if there weren't family connections, would she be there? I don't think that's out of line for me to say.
You saw with Omos, but you saw with the Great Khali a generation before that you got to protect these big guys, these monsters. And for Nia to be a monster, shorter is better. But Bayley is really good, and she can make anyone look like $1 million. This match, I would say, met my expectations. I think the shorter it goes, the less sloppy it maybe looks, but that's the Hurricanrana spot.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
And the sitting up like she's the Undertaker. Come on. Honestly, I would. If I was running the company and I saw that, that's almost.
You think you'd have to call up the Undertaker?
Yeah,
like, hey, is it okay if I can do this?
Absolutely, and I hope that was the case, and we just don't know about it. I would hope that's the case, because if she did that on her own without talking it over with anyone, what are you thinking? But I don't know if that's the case, so I can't say that.
All right, well, it wouldn't be a special 5 match special with Triple H. Triple H ends up coming out and makes a big announcement saying that it's going to be champion versus champion on the men's side and the women's side, and they will compete at Crown Jewel for the brand new Crown Jewel Championship. It doesn't sound like this is going to be defended like a new belt or anything. It's more of a trophy, but a big gaudy championship. But of course, Gunther would come out and make a claim saying he's going to be the one that's going to win this. And Goldberg was ringside. We saw Goldberg and Gunther have a little confrontation. How are we feeling about Goldberg maybe having another match?
You go first, Merc.
Personally, I don't think any regular wrestling fan wants to see that. However, casual fans do like that.
Yeah.
It does get you new eyeballs, and the Saudis pay a lot of money for these events. So they want a certain level of star power that makes their events stand out and unique. I mean, Shawn Michaels was gone. Undertaker, like, you had a lot of people come out of retirement to wrestle on Saudi soil.
Money talks.
It does. And so I think if Bad Blood wasn't in Goldberg's backyard, Goldberg's not front row. However, because he's there, they need to do something with him. So teasing him for this, for Crown Jewel, kind of kills a couple birds with one stone. It allows you to pimp Crown Jewel. It allows you to give Goldberg something to do. And then at the end of the day, a couple weeks from now, nobody remembers that because they've made their roster for that event and they don't need him. But it wouldn't shock me to see him there. But I don't think we will, and I hope we don't as a wrestling fan.
I pretty much agree. Nothing personal against Goldberg, but that can't do anything good for Gunther, who is one of your world champions.
What about his Peter Griffin outfit?
Well, maybe Goldberg can teach him how to dress. I don't know, but I just don't see where that's beneficial for Gunther at all. And Gunther, he's going to be a major player for a number of years, and I just don't see any positives that can go his way coming out of a possible match with Goldberg. Because if it's a bad match, they're not going to blame Goldberg. They're going to blame Gunther.
And the way both of their characters are, like, they don't really sell a whole lot. Like, do you really want Gunther to be selling a lot for Goldberg and vice versa?
Goldberg selling, yes. Gunther selling for Goldberg, he will, but I just don't see many positives.
All right, next up we had Damian Priest defeating Finn Balor. More run-ins. The Judgment Day comes out and tries to interfere, but Damian Priest overcomes. Is this it? Is he finally done with the Judgment Day? Can we move on from that storyline, or what are we doing with Damian Priest after this?
I would think so. I think that kind of ran its course. This is already a theme that we're talking about from Bad Blood. I think someone needs to call the run-in police because there was a lot of run-ins or pop-ups or however you want to describe it. 1 is a surprise. 2 is still interesting. 3, okay, we're starting to see this. It's not a surprise if it happens all the time. And it's not just for run-ins. It's like if there's chair shots in every match, if there's managers pulling the leg in every match. I mean, you can definitely overkill something, and we started to see that the longer the show went on.
All right, next up we had Rhea Ripley defeating Liv Morgan by DQ. We had Dirty Dom suspended up above ringside in the shark cage. He somehow falls out of the shark cage. And then we had Rhea Ripley saying, hey, just a second, I gotta go beat this guy like a piñata. No count out or anything like that, but Rhea eventually makes her way back towards the ring, and we saw the return of Raquel Rodriguez. Another run-in, we got a DQ finish here. of course, the story is continuing on. Like, are we still interested in Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan?
Now, I think that part of the reason that we have to call the run-in police, because of there being so many run-ins, is because it's only a 5-match show, and there's so much talent in WWE, they want to give this talent some screen time. Now, another way to give the talent some time is to put a 6th or, heaven forbid, 7th match on this premium live event, and you could easily get that without shortening the existing 5 matches by reducing some of those awesome WWE packages. As someone who stays with the program, the packages are okay, but they're great when you haven't watched or you've dipped out for a little bit. It fills you back in. But if you watch the pre-show, you're going to see all of these promo packages, sometimes twice. Then the exact same promo package is being broadcast to you during the show itself. It's like, I would rather take those couple minutes and give those people matches, put the Judgment Day in a match rather than have to be part of the run-in. Or you want to, hey, Raquel Rodriguez is back, have her squash someone. The run-ins, I didn't really notice them until this match. And with Raquel being out there, it's like, oh, okay, it's logical. We can set something up with Raquel and Rhea moving forward. Or is Raquel going to be similar to like what Camille is for the CEO, Mercedes Moné in AEW? She's going to be her muscle, her heater, take the beatings so she can be the chicken heel and run away. I don't know. But like, This match was disappointing, and it didn't live up to what I was hoping to be. And the shark cage was a cool idea at first, but it didn't execute the. It didn't live up to my expectations.
And there's got to be a happy medium between these 5-match shows compared to like AEW, where they have like 13 matches and a 6-hour show. Like, maybe find that sweet spot, 7 or 8 matches. I know the WWE fans say that it gives the matches more time to breathe, and you can really focus on just 5 matches. And I think it's something that works for that fan base, especially the run-ins too. It's like, this is a company that's very reliant on promos and entrances and the run-ins, and that's kind of what people are waiting for. The wrestling, the matches don't really matter as much.
I'll just add one thing. I think they probably didn't know this beforehand, but it's very, very clear after the fact. I think the majority of fans wanted to see this be it of this feud. That they finally wanted to see Rhea get her hands on Liv, probably get the title back. And I think they were hoping for that, wanting to see it, really, really wanting to see it. And they didn't get it. And they didn't get it in a way where it's like, now it looks like it could go on longer because they introduced Raquel into it. And I think people went, you could just, when I was watching it, I got the sense from the audience of, oh, really? And it was like major letdown, major disappointment, to the point where they're like, well, now we're not interested anymore. Now we don't really want to see this anymore. So they either should wrap this up immediately, I don't know, or just move on.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. That brings us to the main event. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, the Mega Powers. Did we see that vignette on SmackDown with them at the stadium? That was a pretty cool promo package that they had there. They defeat Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. This one had a lot of action. Cody diving into the announce table, taking out Fatu. We had the Tongans run in. We had the return of Jimmy Uso, but not before Roman Reigns got the pin over Solo. And the Tongans were threatening the beatdown on Cody, but Roman and Jimmy had to make the save. But then, of course, we hear The Rock's music hit. That rock pop, the crowd was going...
The final boss.
The final boss. The crowd was going completely bonkers over this. The main event, any thoughts about that? The return of The Rock.
there's definitely a formula that WWE tries to do for these main events, and it's successful.
Yeah.
And the formula worked. It was exciting. Pops were deafening when they happened. So I think it was cool. I mean, it's a tiny bit predictable, but at the same time, I think it's what people wanted to see. So I liked it.
I agree. It was pretty predictable, but not unentertaining.
Correct.
Like, you can still know something's coming and be like, "Wow, that was still really cool." And I think that's almost everything with this Bloodline saga has been that way. You kind of know what's coming, but it's still cool and it's still fun and it still has your interest. It hasn't gotten old yet. I do think that the Tongas are in danger of just becoming the proverbial whipping boys there. I'd like to see them get a little bit more of a evil rep to them instead of just the kick around guys. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I love the whole Bloodline thing. I almost can't get enough of it. I tune into it and really enjoy it.
And I will say, like, while I feel the Bloodline storyline, going back to Sami Zayn and all that being part of it, while it's predictable, it's still, like Mr. Stefano said, very entertaining, and it's the reward for the fans for being invested. As a sports guy, when you watch sports and the number one seed wins the tournament, okay, maybe that's predictable. They were the best team in the regular season, but that doesn't mean that you're still really happy about it or really mad about it if it's your favorite team's arch rival. Like, the WWE gets a lot of credit for not trying to be too cute and outsmart the fans because we want to swerve them. We don't want them to know what's coming next. It's like, no, it's okay. You can stay the course and we will be entertained, I promise.
And they got a lot of options too. I mean, you got Cody and Roman. You could have that rematch. The Rock and Cody was something that I was even more excited for at WrestleMania. I thought maybe that was going to be where they were going to be headed. But yeah, like I said, they got a lot of options. They got more Samoans on the way too. They signed Hikuleo. Zilla Fatu's another one that's out there who we're going to see in November in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. So yeah, the Bloodline storyline, it's going to continue. I mean, it's money for him, that's for sure. But something that we didn't see on TV was the Kevin Owens turning on Cody Rhodes. Now, they didn't have the camera crew there. They just kind of relied on the fans recording it with their cell phone and getting that footage. How did we like that angle?
I was intrigued by how they did this. Not the turn itself, but the way they shot it and presented it is completely different what you almost always see in something like this when one wrestler turns against another. The obvious cameraman wasn't there for no logical reason. This looks like it was fan footage on everyone's got a cell phone. Looked like someone was shooting it above with a cell phone. You couldn't hear what they were saying, but it looked like an argument, and it presents an illusion of doubt. Like, hey, maybe are those guys really mad at each other? Because maybe there's something going on backstage we don't know about that they're not talking about as part of a storyline, or it blurs the line, and that's never a bad thing.
I've never been a big fan of Kevin Owens as a babyface. I like him as a heel so much better, and I think he would make a great antagonist for Cody Rhodes, especially if Roman Reigns, The Rock, guys like that, they're part-time players in all reality, so that allows them to kind of not go away, but we can put them on the back burner or the pause button, and then this can take potentially center stage for the next, premium live event.
All right, well, there you have it, our review of WWE Bad Blood. Let us know what you thought about the show in the comments below. Make sure you smash that like button. This next weekend, we're going to pivot towards AEW. They're going to be having a pay-per-view called WrestleDream in Tacoma, Washington. Kind of a one-match show. We got Bryan Danielson putting his career, his full-time career, on the line versus John Moxley. Other notable matches, we got the Young Bucks taking on Private Party, Will Ospreay taking on Ricochet and Takeshita in a triple threat match, which, I mean, 5 stars, that's got it written all over it right there. Jack Perry versus Shibata, Mark Briscoe against Chris Jericho, but like I said, I kind of feel like this is a one-match show. Moxley versus Danielson. Who do we think is coming out of this as the new AEW champion?
I think with all the momentum that Mr. Moxley has, I think that Mr. Moxley will be walking away from Bryan Danielson's hometown state of Washington as the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
I don't know where they're going with this, and I don't know why they're going with this. This is the second time in 2 months Danielson's putting his career on the line.
It's the final countdown.
Is this a thing? Is his career always on the line now? For the multitude of problems I see with AEW, and there are too many to go over. I don't care.
You'll be tuning in, right?
No, I'm not going to pull pud here. I'm not going to watch. I'm not interested. If they want them just done the retired, my career's on the line thing, I'd honestly be more interested if it was maybe something else like, why is Moxley so intent on injuring or ending his career? Like, what's the problem with that? And I know there's allegedly some secret person behind Mox now.
Could it be Shane McMahon?
Oh, and I think that's where they're trying to go. And I'll admit this: if it turns out to be Shane McMahon, I will start tuning in immediately. Because I would. I'd be like, oh, I gotta see this. That would be interesting. But no, I don't know. I guess I'll say Danielson keeps the title because he saved his career once. Maybe he'll save it again.
Or we could see some Wheeler Yuta involvement. He's kind of been in the mix. You know, what side is he going to go towards? But let us know what you think in the comments below. WrestleDream, that's this next weekend. But right now, we're going to throw it over to one of our famous friends for some Ultimate Wrestling trivia.
Shane Douglas ran a show called Hardcore Homecoming to compete with the WWE's brand, ECW. What was the name of the documentary that was released from that show?
All right, let us know in the comments below what you think the answer is right there. But yeah, great show today for Dashing Derek. We got Mike Merc and Angelo Stefano. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and check us out every Tuesday right here on Ultimate Wrestling Trivia, the show.